What is up, YouTube? Welcome to Panfro Games, and in today's video I'm going to show you the best locations to shiny hunt all 7 baby Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Of course, guys, you like these types of videos, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, I really appreciate it. So if you didn't know, there are 7 different baby type Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and those baby Pokemon are Igglybuff, Happiny, Azuril, Riolu, Toxel, Bonsly, and Pichu. We're going to be covering all 7 locations for each one, and I do have the shiny charm, and I will also be using shiny sandwiches to increase the odds of getting the shiny. Now, something you may have not realized, most of the baby Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet can actually be caught next to Los Platos in this general area over here. We get a lot of baby spawns, and our first baby spawn is going to be right over here, so just south of the first town right here. And we're just gonna fly on over, and once it says we're in the route name, we're gonna be in the perfect area, and bam, South Province Area 1. Now this whole zone is gonna have a much higher chance of spawning Igglybuff. Now I will say Igglybuff is probably the worst one of these to hunt, because the shiny of Igglybuff looks nearly identical to the regular form, and I did this hunt on stream. It took a long time, but how you optimize this hunt here is, one, you're going to want to set up a picnic like usual, and you can probably do it up on this rock or wherever else. And you're going to, of course, want to save your game before you actually do the picnic, just in case, you know, you waste your sandwich, you don't get the shiny in 30 minutes, so you can always just reload your save and come back and do it all over again. And you want to set up a picnic. And because Igglybuff is a normal and a fairy type Pokemon, we can actually use either a normal or fairy type sandwich in order to hunt this shiny. And because I noticed Fido also spawns here, I'm going to be using a normal type sandwich instead of the fairy, because I don't want to get Fido spawn. So that's going to be a cucumber, pickle, and triple tofu. And for our Herba Mystica, you can use almost any 2. I'm going to use a salty and one of these bitter ones. There we go. We got level 3 for sparkling, tidal encounter for normal type Pokemon. So now we're going to pretty much exclusively see Igglybuff spawns in this location. And they're going to start spawning in. But here's the big issue, as I mentioned. It is so impossible to tell if it's actually going to be a shiny Pokemon or not. So I actually think the best method of trying to shiny hunt an Iggly is going to be running around and trying to kill them with an auto-battling Pokemon. And they're all going to spawn around here. I just want to showcase this, that there's going to be a bunch of them. So if you auto-battle a Pokemon and it is not a shiny, then it is going to be killed. If it is a shiny, your auto battle Pokemon will refuse to fight it. And personally, I do think this is generally the best way to actually do this hunt, is just to run around, kill every single Iggly that you end up seeing. A bunch will keep spawning in for the 30 minutes, and if you don't get the shiny within the 30 minutes, then I would recommend just restarting and trying again. Just because, like I said, you're not going to be able to tell with the different shades. It's going to be super difficult to see the difference here. And they are really small, so if you're trying to picnic reset them from a distance, it's not going to be that easy. And another way to potentially make this easier is, if you want to get a mass outbreak here, you could reset the general location and like do the day skip. So, you know, if you know how to do a mass outbreak location reset, you go to your system settings, then you go to date and time. And then we're just going to move the minute back by 1. And then we're going to have new mass outbreak spawn. As you can see, my things moved, and it's going to give me a notification that, oh, we got a new mass outbreak. You can eventually keep doing this. As long as you're in this area, you'll eventually get an Iggly one. And then you could try to kill 60 on the Iggly, and then eventually you'll have a higher shiny chance after you kill 60 Igglys. And once you knock out the mass outbreak, you just reset the game with the sandwich on. That's another way of doing this hunt, but this is probably the most brutal of all the hunts in this video, but everything else after this is going to be a lot easier to do. For our next hunt, we're just going to move from the Iggly spot, which was right here, over to this pond area over here, using the same normal type sandwich. So if you already have that same recipe, I'll put it up on here, but you already have the sandwich going, and you can see we have exclusively Azuril spawning around here with the normal type sandwich. Azuril is a normal and a fairy type Pokemon, so this would also work for fairy as well, but because we were hunting Iggly, we're just going to keep the normal. And with this one, is actually really easy. The shiny difference is very obvious. It's going to be blue versus green, and the worst part about the green is sometimes if they're in that dark grass in the shade, it can be a little bit hard to see, but it's going to be very obvious in any other location. And all you got to do is just reset. The spawns will come in. You know, you can also like back up a little bit and see you got a bunch of the spawns in the back. And of course, you know, you can just move around to the other side as well. If you want to reset on the other side, you can do that as well. It's like, okay, there was no shinies here. I'm just going to hit the reset button, and we're just going to keep doing this until we eventually get our Shiny Azuril. This is definitely going to be one of the easier hunts too. Super obvious shiny, easy sandwich to make. I believe in all of you getting your raid bunnies ready to go with this shiny hunting method. And we got our Shiny Azuril. Very easy to tell that it is a shiny. I mean, very obviously a green shiny here. And there we go. Of course, facing the wrong way. Next up is Happiny, and unfortunately, Happiny does not have a great spawn location like Iggly or Azuril or some of these other baby Pokemon we're covering in this video. So for this one, I actually recommend going for a mass outbreak in the Los Platos area. In Los Platos, you can get outbreaks for Happiny in this location up here, or even better, you can potentially even get one over here, which is a bit more of a wider area. Now for a shiny hunt for an outbreak, it's always going to be best to kill 60 of the Pokemon you're hunting. And of course, if the Pokemon is shiny, your Pokemon that is auto battling will not actually take it out. So it's always going to be best for you to take out 60 of these. And once you kill 60, you're going to want to make a normal type sandwich. And then you're going to either reset hunt them, or you could kill them until they're all gone and then reset your save. And then eventually you'll have more Happiny to hunt. But as I mentioned before, the best areas is probably going to be right here where an outbreak can spawn, or probably right here as well in this nice open area. This is definitely one you want to get. And once again, if you don't know how to reset your outbreaks, you're going to go to your system settings, go all the way on the system, go to date and time, go to your switch time settings, go back 1 minute, and this is going to give us a brand new outbreak on the map. And as you can see, I lost a Happiny outbreak that I had, and the raids also changed. So you're just going to keep doing this until you eventually get your Happiny to appear. And for our next baby, we're going to be shiny hunting Riolu, and I'm going to be right in this starting area. You can fly from the South Province area for Watchtower area. And Riolu is a mono fighting type. So we're going to set up a picnic and create a sandwich for fighting type Pokemon. Once again, there's a bunch of different recipes that will actually work for this. I'm just going to use one of the easier recipes, which is going to be a sandwich that's going to have a pickle and 2 salties. And now we have level 3 for sparkling title encounter for fighting type Pokemon. So with this one, there's not really a place to picnic reset here. We're actually just going to be running around on our ride Pokemon. And yes, we will get Pommies in this area, but there are going to be isolated spawns of Riolu that will be popping up as well. And you don't actually want to sprint around either. You just want to walk. So there's a Riolu right there. And we're just going to keep following this path over here. There's another Riolu. And there's another. And you can see, like, yep, there's another. There's a good amount of Riolus. You get a couple Makihita spawns. You get Pommy group spawns. And there is actually a good chance you probably end up with a shiny Pommy from doing this as well. But you will eventually get yourself a shiny Riolu. And they're very obvious to shiny. It's going to be a nice yellow. So you're going to be good to go. And you can just, like, run up this hill a little bit. Just walk up, go around the lake, and then come right back down and just keep redoing this path over and over again. And then once you hit this tree over here, you're going to want to turn back. You don't want to go continuing up the hill because you're not going to really get any spawns from going over there. You just want to head back down, keep doing this path, and eventually your shiny is going to pop up. And in the same location as Riolu, which you can once again fly over here if you're trying to get here, we can do Toxel. If we do Toxel, we're going to make a picnic in this location right here in front of this path leading up to the mountains. And we are going to set up a sandwich to trap poison type Pokemon. We don't want electric, because if we do electric, we're going to get Pommy. We want poison type Pokemon. And for my poison sandwich, I'm going to use some noodles, and I'm going to use 2 salties. And we got level 3 for poison, title, sparkling encounter. And with Toxel here, it's going to be the exact same thing as with Riolu. We're going to get on our ride Pokemon, and we're going to start climbing up this hill area. And we're just going to be able to see Toxel. It's just another isolated spawn. It's actually going to be better than Riolu, because Toxel is pretty much the only Pokemon that you're actually going to see here. and it's really obvious to actually see the shiny Toxel too. So this is going to be a super easy and fast hunt. However, if you do touch like the mountain path, you will get the Makuhitas and Houndours, because there is no poison Pokemon that can spawn in that particular tile. But on the grass, it will be Toxels. So all I gotta do, once again, is I'm gonna run around, but don't actually sprint, and just walk up this long hill. And you're just gonna keep on walking while the spawns are here. Sometimes you see some random Pokemon spawn in other tiles like that Flotet, but that's okay. It's still working out. And then we're gonna keep on walking, following this path until we get to this tree. This tree is when we're gonna be ending our cycle. So just go around the tree, make a loop, and then we're just gonna head all the way back down to exactly where we started. And within 30 minutes, hopefully you'll end up getting your shiny Toxel. And for our next shiny baby we're gonna look for is Bonsly. And the best place to actually hunt Bonsly is gonna be south of Cortando, in this area right over here. And Bonsly is a mono rock type, so we are going to be saving our game once again like always, and we are going to be making a rock type sandwich. And the sandwich I'm going to be making is going to require 1 jalapeno and 2 salties. Of course, you can use the recipe infographic to make a different one if you would like to do that as well. Sparkling title encounter for a rock type Pokemon. And now we're gonna get a bunch of Bonsly spawning over in this area. So as you can see, we got Bonsly here, Bonsly there, and we're just gonna like keep running around. There's a ton of Bonsly, just so many Bonsly, and you could even try to do a reset method here as well. Luckily, the shiny Bonsly is very easy to notice. It's going to be red. And personally, I did not find a great spot to picnic reset in this location, just because it's sort of difficult with the areas the picnic will allow you to set up, the walls behind you. So personally, I think it's just sort of better to like run around, look at the spawns, and then eventually see the shiny. The spawns don't come out here though, and they don't go too far out to the east either. So just keep that in mind, that it's going to be like a tight little square area. But there are a couple of spawners here that will just keep popping out a few Bonslys. So eventually, after running around enough, you'll eventually get your shiny Pokemon. Now, in the same spot as Bonsly, we can get our last baby Pokemon, which is going to be Pichu. So what we're going to do is, once again, we're going to set up a picnic. And this time, we're going to make an electric type sandwich because, you know, Pichu and Pikachu, Raichu, they're all mono electric type Pokemon. And once again, I'll be using a shortcut sandwich. And this electric sandwich is going to require me to make a yellow bell pepper here. And then it's going to be 1 spicy and 1 salty Mystica. And there we go. We got sparkling title encounter for electric type Pokemon. Now, this spot is going to be a little bit tricky for Pichu. And you'll see why. Because not only do we get Pichu spawning, we get Pichu, but we also get Pikachu. Unfortunately, it is a double. Obviously, the difference between Pichu and Pikachu is very obvious. And the big thing is, the shiny for Pichu isn't even the easiest thing to tell, because the Pikachu line doesn't even have the great differences in their shinies. But for the most part, shiny Pichu is going to be like a more darker yellow than Pichu's current yellow. But this is going to be a pretty solid spot. And once again, you're just going to like run around, check the different Pichus, and then once you check a bunch, run back, try to despawn some, and then come back again. And eventually, you'll get yourself a shiny Pichu or even a shiny Pikachu. Hopefully, you get the Pichu so you can at least get the full shiny family. And guys, there we have it. That is going to be all 7 shiny baby locations for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I hope you guys have some good luck hunting these, because some of these Pokemon are going to be absolutely brutal and annoying to get. I mean, I think Happiny, Iggly, and Pichu are probably going to be the 3 worst out of this group. But the rest shouldn't actually be too bad. And of course, guys, if you like these types of videos, please leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys next time with more shiny hunting methods and Pokemon content. Peace out, and have a great one.